Professor Wiseman Nkuhlu, the chairman of KPMG South Africa, says now is the time for the profession to return to serving the public interest. The renowned academic and former economic advisor to former President Thabo Mbeki has authored a book on the path the auditing profession should take to regain public trust. Now Chancellor of the University of Pretoria, Nkuhlu is joining us now to talk about his motivation for the book titled Victim or Enabler, KPMG SA and State Capture. Prof, a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you very much for having me. Good evening.
Well, in the past 5 years, the role of the auditing profession and firms in state capture and corruption has been widely reported. Now, KPMG South Africa had its fair share of problems as well. What has motivated you to write this book?
Yes, I've also been a leader in the profession for quite some time. And then in 2009, following the global financial crisis, I was invited to serve on a global committee to look at the role of accounting standards in the crisis. And during those discussions, many questions were asked about the auditors. The question was, where were the auditors? Why didn't they actually give warnings that something was happening with the banks in terms of accumulating risky assets? So my interest developed from there. And I thought of making a contribution, in the discussion by actually writing a book. But now with KPMG experience, I felt that let me take the action now and actually write a book and share my experiences and also share some definite views regarding what I believe need to be fixed.
Now, at the launch of your book today, you say the profession must think differently if it is to survive, and that CEOs of audit firms must reconnect with their purpose to serve the public interest. How should they do that?
Yes, what really influences the culture of any organization is what the chief executive always talks about, and the things that really are valued by the leadership and valued, measured, and rewarded. So if in an organization you continue to talk only about increasing revenues and also, increasing rewards to the partners, and you don't talk much about the fact that our firm, audit firm, is in the business of giving assurance to investors and those outside that the leaders of the organizations that we audit do it truthfully and they don't misappropriate the funds. So once you only talk about, in your meetings, whatever, you talk really about revenue only and about competence, you don't talk about integrity and so serving the public interest, you create a culture where this responsibility of making sure that audit firms protect the interest of the public gets lost. So I believe that this is partly what has happened not only in South Africa, worldwide. In the recent years, audit firms have become really solution providers to businesses and executive organizations more than being the protectors of the public.
Let's zoom into specifics now. You've also touched on the relationship between the audit firms and those being audited to be in the private or the public sectors. But what do you think went wrong in the profession that JSE-listed companies like Steinhoff, Tongaat and others like VBS and Eskom became complicit in corruption?
Yes, there is the complexity of the businesses on the one hand, but I believe that is the over-focus of the audit firms on delighting the client, pleasing the client. And if now your focus is on that, you lose your independence and you lose your ability to be skeptical and suspicious, even when sometimes there are signs that some of the business practices are questionable, or you have signs to believe that the business may not be as viable as they make it. But if you have got this causal relationship with the leadership, your ability to question them gets softer, and because your major focus is that I must maintain this relationship because I'm making a lot of money from the client. So really, to me, this is the crux of the matter that we must address. First of all, by, as I say, highlight this commitment to serving the public interest. But of course, regulation of the profession need to be further strengthened.
Now, of course, as we know, corruption doesn't just play out in the private sector. I mean, there have been concerns that have been raised by the Auditor General of wasteful expenditure and even widespread looting when it comes to government's response to COVID-19 and PPEs. Just give us your reflections on current issues that we are dealing with.
Yes, this is a matter of great concern. When we became free, we were aware of the fact that apartheid deprived us, especially black people, of proper technical education, and therefore we were not well equipped to actually, there was a need for improving education, improving technical training thereafter. But what really happened, unfortunately, is that much as the first president of the country, President Mandela, and also President Beki, were very much aware of this need, that they select only the best people and with proper qualification for positions of responsibility. But things got lax under the third president, and really that influenced conduct right through. So I have no doubt in my mind that the people that we have now in municipalities and provincial governments, they are not elected on the basis of their proven capabilities to those positions. And secondly, when the head of state is no longer the role model, the tone setter for ethics and serving the public interest, that permeates throughout society. And the commitment to put the public interest first and also and really make sure that the resources of the country are used to the best of all the people, not that of a faction. If the leader is not giving proper leadership, is not seen as the role model of that, his style of doing things gets copied and influences the ethos in the whole country. And this is what we have seen in the last few years.